So, stop what you're doing, because today I'm bringing you a story that is going to give you chills on your body or in your body. So this is a story of Christians who face persecution, but in the end, we know that Christ always wins. So let's get into it. It all started on a Tuesday morning, October 12th, at exactly 9 a.m. 8 of us from our church sat in a small circle, praying for guidance. We felt a strong calling to take Bibles into a remote hidden jungle area that locals called the Black Canopy. In this region, preaching about Jesus was strictly illegal. We spent 3 days praying and planning, but as soon as we decided to go, everything started going wrong. 2 team members suddenly fell severely ill on Thursday. 2 others had their travel documents delayed. By Friday night, another 2 backed out due to intense fear. By Sunday morning, October 17th at 5 a.m., only 2 of us were left, myself and my close friend, Rob. We knew the risks, but we decided to go anyway. We started our journey on Monday, October 18th at 6 a.m. The travel was exhausting. We rode an old, rusted bus for 12 hours over bumpy dirt road that felt like they would shake the vehicles apart. Thick dust poured through the broken windows, making it hard to breathe. At 6 p.m., the bus dropped us off at the edge of a dirt path. From there, we had to walk. The mud was deep and thick, pulling at our boots with every step. Heavy rain started pouring down, making it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. By Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m., our GPS completely lost signal. The jungle trees were so thick they blocked out the moon and stars. We were completely lost. Suddenly, through the dark and pouring rain, we heard loud shouting. Out of nowhere, a group of men rushed at us from the bushes. In the blind panic and darkness, Rob and I ran in the direction. As I scrambled through the mud, I heard Rob scream out in pain. They had caught him. I was completely alone, terrified, and lost in the deep jungle. For 2 days I hid in the thick brush, wet, freezing, and starved. On Thursday, October 21st, at exactly 2 a.m., my energy gave out. I was resting inside a small makeshift tent. I made a plastic tap where plastic suddenly ripped open. Rough hands grabbed my hair. Before I could even make a sound, a heavy, dirty burlap sack was shoved over my head. A hard object, the metal butt of a rifle, slammed into my ribs, knocking the wind out of me. They dragged me for what felt like hours. When they finally ripped the sack off my head, I found myself inside a deep, cold underground cave. The air was thick and smelled terrible, like rusted metal and burning chemicals. I was tied tightly with heavy metal chains to a thick wooden post in the center of the cave. That is when I saw Rob. He was tied to another post across from me. His face was badly bruised, his shirt was torn, and he was bleeding from deep cuts on his arm. They had been torturing him for 2 days to get information, but he had not broken. Then I looked at the people surrounding us. There were about 40 of them. They did not look like regular villagers. They wore long, tattered black robes covered in dirt and dried blood. Their faces were hidden behind terrifying masks made from real skulls of forest animals, wild boars, goats, and monkeys. They marched around a large flat stone altar in the center of the cave, chanting words in a strange, harsh language that I could not understand. At 3:15 a.m., the cult leader stepped forward. He wore a massive bull skull on his head. He held a long rusted knife with jagged edges. He walked over to Rob and then to me. slicing the blade into our shoulders. The pain was blinding. The leader looked directly at me and spoke in clear, rough English. "Deny Jesus and you live. Bow, Master, or your blood fills this stone altar next." Every nerve in my body was screaming for the pain to stop. I looked at Rob, who was quietly weeping but shaking his head no. A strange, powerful strength took over my tongue, and I looked at the leader in the eye, whispered, "Jesus is Lord. You can break our bodies, but you cannot touch our souls." At that exact moment, the chanting stopped. The temperature in the cave dropped so fast that our breath turned into white mist. A heavy, suffocating weight pressed down our chest from the dark shadows behind the stone altar. A towering shape emerged. It was not of solid blackness, a demonic spirit that had ruled this jungle for hundreds of years. It had two glowing red spots for eyes that burned like hot coals. The moment those eyes looked onto us, a wave of pure horror ran down my spine. The cult members immediately threw themselves down onto the dirt, trembling in fear. The spirit spoke. The sound did not come from the air, but directly inside our heads. It was loud, mocking hiss. "You are mine. Your God has abandoned you here." Looking at the helplessness, something changed inside me and Rob. The fear completely vanished, replaced by a deep, holy anger. I gripped the chains, looked straight at the glowing red eyes, and began to shout a prayer at the top of my lungs. Rob joined me, his voice mixing with mine. We yelled out of Luke 10:19. "We have been given power and authority to trample over snakes and scorpions and all the works of the enemy. Nothing will harm us." The black spirit let out a loud screeching sound like metal scraping against metal. It lunged forward to attack us, but it slammed into an invisible wall in the air and bounced back. We did not stop. Bleeding and chained, we kept preaching the name of Jesus into the dark cave. An hour later, at exactly 4:30 a.m., the leader decided enough is enough. "I am ending your lives." The cult members dragged our weak, broken bodies over to the flat stone altar. The leader raised his jagged knife high into the air above my chest. The black spirit hovered right above us, ready to destroy us. I closed my eyes and whispered, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Suddenly, a massive roaring sound like a violent tornado blasted through the underground cave. The wind was so strong it instantly blew out every single torch in the room. But the cave did not go dark. Instead, a brilliant light, blinding white light, flashed from the very center of the room. The heavy presence of God filled the space. It was so pure, so powerful, that the cult leader dropped his knife, fell to his knees, and started crying uncontrollably. The heavy chains around my wrist and Rob's wrist instantly snapped and fell to the ground like burned strings. I stood up straight. The intense pain in my body was completely gone, replaced by a surge of physical strength. I walked up to the dark, shifting spirit, pointed my finger directly at it, and commanded it, "In the almighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Son of the living God, I command you to leave this place and never return. Go!" The deafening boom shook the wall of the cave. The shadow spirit split apart and vanished into absolute nothingness. A total silence fell over the cave. The 40 cult members were flat on the ground, weeping and shaking after seeing the raw power of the true God. We didn't run away. Rob and I went over to the cult leader, helped him up, and told him about the forgiveness and love of Jesus. The very morning, right there in the cave where they used to take lives, the leader and every single person in that room gave their lives to Jesus Christ. They gently washed our wounds, brought us fresh water, and took hammers to destroy their stone altars and animal masks. Today, the dark, terrifying cave is no longer a place of fear. We cleaned it out, and it's now fully functional church. The dangerous jungle territory is now a peaceful mission base. The devil tried to use the road to end our lives, but God used it to bring light to the darkest corner of the jungle. What a beautiful story. I pray that God may touch you. And if you have anything to share, share on the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and be blessed.